Okay. Okay, awesome. Well, welcome to the webinar or whatever this is, the digital hangout. Um, yeah, you're good, Peter. So today I'm going to be talking about how I built out my lead magnet, ran some Facebook and Instagram ads, and I was getting like at one point I had nearly a 53% opt-in rate. Um, I have been using AI tools since before ChatGPT came out in 2022, but I've just been learning and playing. And so I wanted to teach you guys about what I've learned about AI and then how you can use it as well. Also, welcome, Cody. Cody is my friend from Minnesota. He currently lives in Utah. He's a total rock star. Hey, Cody. Um, Cody's awesome. Everyone on this call is awesome. So, Peter and I like did we go to high school, like middle school? I'm like, I think we went to high school together. So we're having like a sweet reunion here. Um, and we've got Amsterdam, Scandinavia, Honolulu, Utah, Bay Area represented. How cool is that? Um, all right, so let me just show you. I'm gonna kind of dive in. And if you guys have any questions, like this is not like Natalie's gonna chat and then you can ask questions. Just feel free to ask questions anytime they pop up. Um, but yeah, if no one wants to be on camera, turn yours off. I don't care. If you guys want to be on camera or not, you do you. It's all good. Maybe when we have a conversation, it'll be better to be on camera or something. Okay, cool. So, what we're overall talking about today is there's a combination of three things that I think got me the results that I got. And those three things are artificial intelligence, data sets, and human intelligence. So, from a high level, I imagine we're all relatively familiar with artificial intelligence. This is, machine learning, it's algorithms, it's ChatGPT, it's Claude, it's so many different things. AI has existed far beyond just large language models, and large language models are basically the AIs that you can have a chat conversation with, right? When you're on Netflix choosing a video and it recommends you something, that's artificial intelligence at work. If you're driving a Tesla and it auto parks for you, that's artificial intelligence at work. So a lot of the artificial intelligence that I'm going to talk about today really is just large language models, like ChatGPT and Claude. But Facebook advertising also has AI built into it as well. And that is also a part of what helped contribute to the success. The second thing is data sets. So data sets are basically what your AI is trained on. So I like to think of ChatGPT as like an artificial intelligence that swallowed the internet. And it has like its GED, right? It has a lot of knowledge about a lot of different things, but it may not be specialized. Like if you've heard of, say, Andrew Huberman. Andrew Huberman is a Stanford neurobiologist. He understands the brain to a very deep and nuanced level. ChatGPT isn't going to be able to give you information like Andrew Huberman can because it's not trained on the same data set that Andrew's been trained on. So Andrew's data set is essentially all of his years of experience, the different tests and things he's ran, the research he's done, the education that he's gained. So all of us have our own unique data set. And I'll talk about this a little bit more and why it's super important, especially in the context of leveraging AI. And then the last thing is human intelligence. So, human intelligence is obviously us, it's the nuance, it's the emotion, it's the intuition that we bring, where we can say, for example, one of the things that AI or ChatGPT tends to write a lot in marketing copy is take your business to new heights. If you leave that in, then people are going to know that that was written by AI. But how do we know that? We only know that because of our human intelligence, right? So there is human intelligence at play here. Um, and also welcome. I think I just saw Curtis pop on. Yeah, what's up, Curtis? Everyone apparently is off camera except for Peter and I. So, you do you, whatever you want. It's all good. Um, Okay, so those are the three main things that we're going to be covering today. But I just wanted to show you like the actual ad that I did because I figured that's something you would want to see. Um, and feel free to type in the chat if you have any questions or unmute or raise your hand, whatever. My intention is for this to be a conversation. But so of course, when you're building a marketing funnel, um, the first thing that your customers will see is the images and the copy that you've written. So these were the images that we used. And I just want to say that I did not do this by myself. I am absolutely not an expert when it comes to Facebook advertising. I hired a girl named Shelby who has had tons of experience. She has spent hundreds of thousands, if not, I think she has spent over $1 million for her clients on advertising on Facebook. So she helps the type of people that are similar to me. So she's had a lot of experience. That experience could technically be considered a data set. It could also be considered human intelligence. So her team built these advertisements, and the um, the lead magnet that I was promoting was called what was it called? The Life Currencies Playbook. 12 hidden forces that drive clients to buy. Discover the little known mental currencies that influence buyers far more than money alone. So when people landed on my ad, this is what the ad looked like. And then here, I'm not going to read this to you, but if you want to see it, you can. This here highlighted in blue was the copy that we used. Now, this copy was written by Shelby's ChatGPT. Actually, I think it might have been mine that we used. Anyway, she and I used ChatGPT to write this out, and then we went in and we edited certain things. So one of the things that I remember coming from ChatGPT was this. This isn't just another PDF. It's a masterclass compressed into a playbook. And I thought that was kind of cool. I liked that. So over the experience I've had with Chat, and how many of you have used ChatGPT? Like, pop that in the chat. Yes, no. I assume probably we've all used it. Um, and then I don't know, on a scale from like 1 to 10, 10 is like I could school you, Natalie, and I know what's going on with ChatGPT, and 1 is like help me log in. I don't know how to use this. I'm curious where everyone's at with their proficiency towards or how they feel towards ChatGPT. Um, Post days mostly for research. Okay, sweet. Okay, I just found a really awesome research GPT that I should share with you, Cody. 6.5, sweet. Educating myself constantly. Awesome. So we're all learning. There's plenty of like space and room. Yes, I have beginner. Yeah, there's room for everybody. Like even I learned something new last night on a call that I was on, and I was like, oh, how did I not know that? Um, so so there you go. So this is what the ads looked like. This is what the landing page looked like. Now, landing pages are important. They're an important part of getting a great opt-in because you have to have a really clear value proposition and then you have to have a really clear call to action. There's not a whole lot you can do here except for download this life currency playbook. And it also is really clear about the value that it offers. So I'm going to tell you about these mental currencies other than money that help influence buyers to choose you and get, drive clients to buy. So if someone lands on here and they are looking for more clients and how to influence those clients, then they're probably going to try this out. Now, depending on what it is that you're selling, you're going to want to make sure that the problem that you solve for your customers is really, really clear and you've stated the value proposition very, very clearly. That I think is one of the most important parts of building out a lead magnet that is going to attract not only customers, but the right types of customers. The more precise we can be about the value that we bring and that we have to offer, the better. When we are vague and unclear or too general, we get lost, or our potential customers get lost because they don't understand why they should choose us. There are so many people out there that we could choose when it comes to anything. if you've ever moved somewhere new and you have to choose a new dentist, you're like, I have no idea what dentist to choose. I'm just going to ask my friends, right? I have no idea who should be cutting and dyeing my hair. Uh, I picked a girl when I moved here about a year ago, and I have blonde hair and I like to redo my blonde. And so I found a girl on Instagram and she was like, I specialize in blonde hair. So that uniqueness about her, that specialty, is what made me choose her over somebody else. I didn't choose her because she was the cheapest. Money is only one currency that our clients use to make decisions. We also, there's other life currencies, right? And so that was that. And then once people click the download button, this is where they would go. There was a little bonus video training on the different life currencies, and then there was a link that they could just like immediately download the playbook. So there's that. Okay, and then let's go to the results. So this is, I use my backend platform is called Go High Level. That's a totally other conversation. But this is just the statistics that I had over the life of the advertisement. So I had 100, no, I don't think this is right. Actually, I think I had more than that. Anyway, 175 people chose to opt into this, which was a 46% rate. There was some days that it was up as high as 52%. So, um, again, what I attribute that to were these three things. Um, so let's talk first about artificial intelligence. Now, does anyone have questions before I keep going? Like, all good in the chat if you're good. Um, or like questions if you have questions. All good. Okay. Sweet. All right. So I have a couple of chat GPT agents that I'm happy to share with you guys if you want them. But these are the ones that I used to build out not only my lead magnet, like the actual PDF of my lead magnet, but to build out the copy that you saw, the positioning of the landing page, and things like that. So the first one that I use is called an AI persona builder. Is anyone familiar with what an AI persona is? Okay, Valentina, I will for sure. I'll share those chats. Okay, yes, Valentina knows. No, Cody does not. Okay, so Valentina and Dennis know because they were past clients of mine who we built some out. So an AI persona is basically like taking ChatGPT or one of these large language models and assigning it a job. So you're actually telling it what its role is, what it specializes in, who you are, who your customers are, and what your customers' preferences are, and what products you sell. So you're really like creating an employee through artificial intelligence. So this AI persona builder is what creates the instructions to tell an AI what to do. So it's a little bit meta, if that makes sense. It's actually an AI that builds AIs, AI employees. So I use this because I have a process and a framework for how to actually train this AI to be an employee for me. And so if I want to build, say, like a customer service agent, I'm going to go to this AI persona builder and say, hey, I want you to build a customer service agent and it needs to have these qualities. And then it'll write like a professional prompt that I can then use to train my AI employee. Another use case for this is if you want to build a copywriter. You know, this is all related, like this kind of webinar is all related to marketing and selling and clients and things like that. So this could build you a copywriter. Okay, the next ChatGPT that I used is what I call my brand strategist. So the brand strategist is what helps you to get really clear on what differentiates you and what value you bring to the table that's different than others. Um, so, like a Walmart brand, the value proposition is low costs. With something like Apple, the value proposition is easy to use, creative or devices that unlock your creativity. So you need to be clear about the value that you bring to the table because that's going to help customers choose you, or it's going to repel the kind of customers that you actually that don't want what you have to offer. And it's a good thing um, to repel the people who are never going to buy from you anyway. So this brand strategist helped me to develop the overall positioning and value of many different things in my business, but specifically this Life Currencies playbook. The next one that I used is my ideal client profile ChatGPT. So basically what this does is it helps me understand my customers so well that I can speak to them in their terms, that I can understand their problems. I can understand their perspective as well as the things that they want. And then I can take that and tell that to my brand strategist, GPT, and it's going to do an even better job because you have to understand your customer, right? If you don't understand your customer, it's just you're just making noise in the marketplace. So it's really important to have a thorough understanding of your person. And your ideal client profile GPT can also help you do research into understanding people. You can do firsthand research where you're feeding it, firsthand information that you've learned from your market, whether that be like surveys, feedback, conversations that you've had, anything like that is going to help contribute to building out a customer profile such that you understand your customer so you can make marketing where they're like, oh my gosh, are you reading my mind? Oh my gosh, did you read my journal? You're like, no, I just understand you really well because I'm a good marketer. So that's what this ideal client GPT was for. And then I have a Tony Robbins ChatGPT. Now you can see I copied these from my GPT. This has got 200 plus people using it, which is kind of cool. Um, this Tony Robbins is actually my copywriter. So I have a Tony Robbins GPT that is specifically for business. And then I have one that's for like being my life coach and kind of more of like mindset stuff. So you can build a copywriter GPT. Mine just happens to be called Tony Robbins, and I will share this with you. But when you train your copywriter to understand both your ideal client and your brand, and part of your brand is also your personality, your voice, the mannerisms you use in your language. Like I have a lot of like, I'll crack like dumb jokes, but like I try to keep things professional, but also like relatively casual. Other people are very like scientific and data driven, and that's part of their brand. If you think of a brand like Liquid Death, it's just like water in a can, but they're so like cynical and obnoxious in like the most wonderful way that you just like have to buy their canned water. Um, but your voice and personality of your brand is part of what your brand strategist would help you with. So once your copywriter understands your brand and understands your ideal client, then you can use it to write copy that not only represents you but connects with your person. Um, and so, those were the three AIs that I used in combination to build out everything that we've gone through. The next AI that's important is Facebook's AI. So when Shelby and I hired Shelby. She's an expert in Facebook advertising, specifically for people who are building online communities and people in kind of the marketing coaching world. And so she brought a lot to the table when it comes to this, but Facebook can actually go and see who's opting in to my lead magnet and then serve my lead magnet to more people like that. So Facebook is also part of your team here as far as artificial intelligence. The ChatGPT agents we talked about up here, and then Claude is just a different tool that you can use to also build agents. And there's some nuances to why that one is, better in certain circumstances. And we can go through that if you guys want to later. All right. The next thing is the data sets. So data sets are important. Does anyone know why data sets are important, or even like have a fifth grader understanding where they feel like, I could explain this to a fifth grader. Like, give me some love in the chat just because no one's on camera with me. Are you still with me? No. Oh, wait,
This
that's
is
me.
amazing, Natalie. Keep going. Don't
Thanks,
stop.
Cody. You're the best cheerleader ever. Um, yeah, totally. So, um, forwarding that's amazing. Thanks. Thanks, Dennis. You're also the best cheerleader ever. Okay, so here are data sets. Data sets, like from a literal standpoint, what you can literally upload into ChatGPT or Claude are Word documents, PDFs, spreadsheets, okay, images. I'm gonna have to make like a disclaimer that is for Midjourney, which I am not an expert on and not talking about today from an image standpoint, but just so you can train, images or AI that builds visuals on your own images. Okay, but so these data sets may be things like your content, how well your content is performing, books you've written, articles, transcripts from meetings or trainings, emails, courses, anything like that is going to be data that the AI can then use. Um, so, like I was saying earlier, if we took someone like Andrew Huberman, who is probably one of the top world-renowned experts in neurobiology, neuroscience, he has a data set that ChatGPT does not, right? So, how would we, if you want to make a copy of yourself, right? Like if you want to replicate yourself with AI so that AI can serve customers for you, so that AI can write copy and do marketing that sounds like you, then you have to give it a data set of you, right? So these are all things that can train your AI on your brand voice, your content and expertise, your customers, your processes, uh, things like that. So these data sets are really important because this provides customization to the tools that are already out there. If you don't use these data sets and if you don't train your uh, ChatGPT or Claude or any other AI tool, if you do not train it on you using these things here on the screen, then there's a couple of problems. One is it's not going to know how to replicate you and it's not going to sound like you. Two, it's going to sound like everybody else because anyone can really go on and say, make a marketing plan for me, write a marketing plan about healthcare, write a blog about healthcare, write a blog about why you should have a coach, like write a blog about why you need insurance. Those are all going to be generic and boring, and no one's really going to care about any of it. But when you come at it from your angle with your unique expertise and with your, unique experience, then it starts to get fun and starts to get interesting. And people are like, wow, did you write this or did you have someone help you write this? Another thing that you can, I'm going to add to this is your own life stories. So, if you don't keep track of your stories, like things that have happened to you, one great way is to just share those stories audibly, get it transcribed, and then upload that and say, here, as my copywriter, I want you to um, draw from this library of my personal experiences and use them in the blog articles that you write for me, right? Something like that. So having these data sets is really important. And I see you, Peter. I'm gonna bring you up. Let me just finish this one thought. Um, Data sets can also be around your customers. Okay, so let's say that you went out and you surveyed 25, like let's just say you interviewed 10 people and you interviewed them and you have, say, like 3 paragraphs from each person listed out in a spreadsheet of feedback that they have about, say, your software. And it talks about, I love these aspects of it, but this is really frustrating and I wish I had this instead. That's a data set. that would be really, really helpful that you could plug back into AI and say, based off of what my customers are asking for, what are the next 3 features we should add to our software? What should we prioritize? Based on this feedback, who are the types of people that are really engaged in our software and that we should target in future marketing campaigns? Like, there's so many ways to use it. It's amazing, but again, it's that customized data that's so important. Peter.
Yeah, thanks for this. Like, I feel like you're just taking things to such a next level. So I appreciate the opportunity to just like tune in and be a fly on the wall and
Cool,
also
thanks.
yeah, to engage. So my question has to do with in as you're sharing, blogs, content, books, articles, right? Like all these things, these data sets that you have to personalize the tools. I wonder, are you doing that just purely copy and paste? Or are you like using a combination of different methodologies to like it seems like you have these different GPTs and they can in a way create their own silos of context. So could you expand on your
Yeah.
process a little
Yeah,
bit?
good question. Let me draw a picture to maybe illustrate how I personally think about it. And I'm not saying that do it the right way, but this is how I think about it. So that's really small. Okay, so like I do have those different GPTs and you know, it's a good question because no, you definitely do not want things to be siloed. So I have like my brand GPT and that helps me get clear on value propositions and kind of my identity, how people are perceiving me. I have the ideal client one, and that gives me insights on like what's going to make someone buy, what are the problems they have, what are the solutions that they're looking for, or even like the symptoms that they feel versus the real problems that are causing those symptoms that they probably don't know about those problems. So I use those things and then I kind of like funnel those in almost to my copywriter slash my Tony Robbins GPT. So it's almost like these become a little playground for me to kind of like get messy, let there be a whole bunch of information, and then I can bring that down to like okay, write a paragraph that represents my brand voice. And then I take that and I put it into my copywriter and I say, okay, um, use this brand voice paragraph. So it's almost as though this brand GPT like allows me to um explore and like look around and push around and try different things. And then once I land on like, okay, this is a brand voice that I really like, please articulate that succinctly so that then it can be influencing how my copy is written. Same thing with like, what's my value proposition? But when you're building a value proposition, it might get messy before it gets clean and articulate. So this is kind of that place where I can be messy about it. Then I bring it into something that's like, this is going to be client facing or like audience facing. So I want it to be succinct, but like directing the way that my copy is being written. Is that helpful?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. And again, from the actual content that you're essentially training, um, like you're kind of doing this over the course of time before, so that yeah, the more content that you essentially have in written format. And I guess I'm wondering, do you also use kind of like GPT voice where you're just like telling
Oh,
the story,
speaking?
or is that a way that you're kind of separately, kind of transcribing and then just dumping it in via
Yeah, I've
text?
like stayed up till like 2 in the morning, just like literally talking like with my voice to ChatGPT, being like, and I'm very casual. I'm like, dude, I can't believe this. Like, this is what I was thinking, and it's actually really good to treat it like a human. Um, I get better outputs when I treat it like a human. I've seen silly things like and I've tried this out. It's like, hey, I'm going to give you like a $200 bonus if you do your best work on this next blog article. And it's like somehow does a little bit better job than in the past, you know? But one thing I will say though is once you've gotten like a high level, when like your strategy, right? Like your value proposition, who your client is, like those things generally speaking don't change. They refine over time, but like you've got a pretty good idea. Then once you're inside of like say your copywriter AI, um the the history and the refinement becomes valuable for you to say you put in your blog or articles you've written or emails and to go back and forth and say like keep all your emails within this copywriter, right? You keep all of your blogs or your social content that that you're having it right within there, because then over time it's learning you, and it's as it writes like you can give it feedback and say, okay, I took the paragraph that you just wrote and I rewrote it in a way that reflects my voice. What are the differences and what will you do moving forward so that you always sound like me? So that's where I would keep, you could insert all of these things up here into your brand GPT as like a review all of this and then give me the succinct output. You could also put all of this into your copywriter and say, review all of this and write like them. So there's different ways to do it. Awesome. Cody can ask yes, you can ask a dumb question.
Okay, so like let's say we had a body of writing or work that was ours. How would we get that into ChatGPT? This may be a really dumb question. I apologize to everybody else
No,
if
it's
you know how to
okay.
do
It's
this
not a
already.
dumb question. So there's a couple ways. If you are, you can literally just attach it as a file. And you can say,
Oh, okay.
upload
Yeah.
your book, right? And
Yeah.
then you can say, analyze the attached, book, right? Or whatever instructions you want to do. Typically, once you've uploaded data, there's two things you want to do. You want to tell it what this data is. This is a book written by me, and then you tell it, analyze this,
Okay.
right? So it understands it.
Got it.
Yeah. Or,
Okay. That was super. Thanks, Natalie. That was super
you're welcome.
helpful.
If it's a
Apologies to
spreadsheet,
everybody else on the call who's an expert. So
no,
thank you.
you're good. It's all good.
You're like, it's right here when you go to the
Cody,
prompt
is your
bar right in
computer
front of you.
on?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Perfect.
first you turn.
I'm sorry. Okay, let's keep going. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, like, if it's a spreadsheet of, say, like customer feedback, you would just say, "This is a spreadsheet of customer feedback. Please analyze this for blah blah blah, whatever outcome output you wanted to give you." The Dennis, you asked, how can you talk with your chat GPT? So I typically do that on my iPhone. When I've done it on my laptop, which I have a MacBook, I had to enable a mode. I double click control, and then as I speak, the text shows up. So it's a voice to text command, but it's like literally through my MacBook. It's not through AI. ChatGPT does have a function where you can speak to it back and forth, but the only way I've learned how to do that, or that I've been able to do that, is through the app. Okay, I gotta stop. I'm talking to all this. Is that helpful? Does that make sense? So if you have the app on your phone, oh my heck, stop. If you have the app on your phone, you can literally there's a button that you push, like a talk button. You can go back and forth with it. And then on your computer, I've just enabled a voice to text feature. And if you just Google how to do that, it's just like a little random setting in your computer that you can use. So, oh, Cody, the other thing I was going to say that, and it is as far as like uploading your content to your chat GPT, if you are going to make your own, whether it's in Claude or ChatGPT, if you come here to My GPTs, you can create a custom GPT, and there's a section here called Knowledge where you can upload files, and that's where you would upload your file. So for example, in some of the GPTs that I'm going to share with you guys, I've uploaded files. Like I have training data, uploaded that you would then automatically have access to. Like your ChatGPT agent would be, um, I guess we'll just say smart, like trained in that information that's already been provided. So, um,
Got it. Thank
awesome.
you. Okay.
Okay, so as far as data sets goes, part of what this was my 10 plus years in marketing experience. Shelby's $1 million in ad spend and her understanding of Facebook advertising. I actually use life currencies in the copywriting that I do because I want to, um, communicate value, and value comes in different currencies, not just money. And so when I train my chat GPT that there are more currencies than just money, it can actually, and I can say, okay, my customer values quality and expertise. So use the life currencies of quality and expertise as you write this article, right? Maybe your customer values saving time. So, make sure that that is represented in the social media post that you write. So the life currencies is a data set that I use. Um, I also have I call it my affluent marketing secrets curriculum. So, one of the things I teach people is how the differences between marketing to someone who is more affluent and is less making decisions based off of how much something costs, and more so making decisions based off of getting a problem solved, and getting that mental load off of their, uh, you know, like not being stressed by that. And so this is a very different tactic than marketing to a mass audience, because a mass audience is going to be driven by like there's only 5 of these left, or it's a 50% off deal, or you have to do it by midnight. And some of those tactics don't work with the type of customer that I'm targeting. So generally speaking, AI isn't trained on how to communicate to a more affluent audience. And so I've got to teach it how to do that so that it doesn't pull out tactics that won't resonate with my audience. There are certain email marketing people that I follow who are experts in copywriting, and they have specific templates and like models for how to, like, what should be in your first email, what should be in your second email. So I've taken those templates and said, hey, I want you to write a welcome message, a series of welcome messages, say, 7 emails. And the first one should communicate, about my product. The second one should communicate about the community, whatever that template is. You can use things like that. Another example, if you guys are familiar with like Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson is a very successful digital marketer who started ClickFunnels. He has a template called the perfect webinar. And so it's literally like, I don't know, 30 or 50 or however many webinar slides that are all templated. So you could use that perfect webinar template as a data set to train your GPT to say, okay, you're going to build me a perfect webinar on my topic based off of my audience and my brand. So those are also types of data sets. And then of course, training it on you and who you are, your brand voice, all of that, that's also a data set. And then the last piece is like, I'm a believer in not being an expert in everything, because you just can't go deep if you try to do it all yourself. And so surrounding yourself with people who are better than you at whatever it is they're best at, it's, 1 + 1 = 3, 1 + 1 = 10. There, like, even as I was trying to find like this, these stinking things, I was trying to find these. I was like, dude, I don't even know how to find these ads. It's just not my expertise. Um, but that doesn't stop me from like getting a decent opt-in rate, you know. So just overall, like my recommendation is to surround yourself with people who are complementary to you, who are, you know, there maybe there's some overlap and there's some really cool nuance in the overlap. But of course, you know, surround yourself with people who are awesome and good at the thing that you would like to accomplish. So that's what I have for you guys today. So I will actually, I'm gonna pull. I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna go grab these links um, to my different chat GPTs so that you guys can use those. I'll put that in the chat. But yeah, what any questions you guys have? What or any questions and or like what was the most valuable thing that you learned today?
Yeah, thanks, Natalie, for walking through that. I think for me, um, seeing the way that you've utilized the different persona or the different GPTs to like, I have this one for strategy, I have this one for like that user persona. Yeah, my wife and I are both going through a like kind of a new venture journey where
Cool.
we're trying to kind of build from the ground up. And like it just failed in LLC, and like this is like new like
Nice.
this week. So yeah, like I've built and helped for other organizations in the past, but to do it for myself, it's like okay, like now there's a different level of you know in other places and other contexts there's the collaboration that can occur, but now it's like oh, well, I have access to all these tools, but how do I leverage them in such a way where my time is finite? We have 3 kids. We want to be very, very present with them as much as possible and be mindful of the like limited time between when we're dropping them off at school and when we pick them up and, you know, kind of those little gaps here and there too. But how do we, yeah, so I think seeing the different personas or these different GPs that you're using in the ways that even allows for one's output to funnel into the next. So you're essentially creating like, this is the prompt to help the next one kind of take it with the context that I already have, that you've trained it with. So it's speaking in your voice, essentially in your brand, your your tone and all that. It's really, really helpful.
Yeah, awesome. I usually tell people there's the way I look at it is there's personas, there's prompts, and there's process. And so, you know, depending on where you're at or what you're trying to, like, what's the end result that you're looking for, you would have a persona that's built for that uh, end outcome. You have prompts that, you know, help you move through and prompt. This is what I learned yesterday. The purpose. Ooh, let me ask you guys. Do you know what the purpose of a prompt is? I was like, shouldn't I know the answer to this? It sounds like such a basic question. I was like, I don't know the answer. A prompt is what helps the AI use the data set. It tells it how to use that data. Um, so, you know, you've got your persona, you've got the prompts that kind of bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be. And then the process is like how you can create and kind of optimize your time when you're doing repeated things. So some of like starting a new business is like, okay, I'm doing this one time. And then there's other parts that you're like, okay, well, I have an ongoing thing. So if you can build out a persona and prompts that become a process, you know, you can actually create that productivity that you know, everyone says, oh, AI will make you profitable and more productive. It's like, well, it will when you use it and you know, like, hey, it's going to take me 30 minutes to do this week's content, right? Bye, Cody. Um, okay, let's see. You're welcome, Cody. Now, so basically, once it's trained, you ask for a summary so that you can put it into the next chat. Yeah. So, and you can do all of this in one chat. I've just found that I like I for me, I've built like a marketing AI marketing dream team. And I want each of my team members to be specialists in what they do. And so if my copywriter is going to be a specialist, it's because it's been told by the branding department, it's been told by the marketing department, what to do and who it's speaking to. So that's how I use it. Awesome. Okay, so let me make sure I've got the brand strategist GPT and the IDO client GPT. Now you guys do have to have a like a ChatGPT account in order to use these. Brand, IDO client. What was the other one? Tony Robbins. Oh, the persona builder. I'll do that one too. Cool. Dennis, Valentina, any like new takeaways? Curtis? Let me know.
Yes. I have also a question, but maybe
Yeah.
share first a takeaway and then the question. I don't know how to say this, and I feel a bit dumb. I'm just super fascinated by you, and what I mean is, I feel really scared of this whole AI thing. I have so much resistance, and it's really because of you and the training we did already half a year ago that I'm opening up to this.
Yeah.
Like seeing you being so casual about it and so relaxed, and how you have different personalities and they come together as your dream team makes me really get a vision of what is possible and working myself to that. And I'm just super grateful.
Cool.
I can really get it, like the way you explain it. And one question that I have is when you share your GBTs, they're programmed like according to you, to your voice up until today. Am I right? Or how does this?
Well, so
Hmm.
the ones I'm sharing with you are like brand new employees that haven't been, told what company they work for yet.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So it's like, awesome. I'll connect with you, Curtis. So the first thing that you're going to do is basically like onboard your employee, right? You're like, you work for me and here's what our company does and that kind of a thing.
Okay.
But like all of you could go and like download or go access the Tony Robbins GPT and start training it to be your employee, and it would all be like separate. So I've already taken one and I've turned it into my employee. So this is like a fresh template for you, for anyone to use, really.
Wow.
So it's not trained,
Wow.
like yours is not trained on me. It's not trained on my voice or my brand or anything like that. It's trained to be someone's employee. But then you have to like onboard it, basically.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you
kind
so
of
much for sharing them. It's really
it's like
amazing.
kind of weird to talk about it like, okay, you're my employee now, and
Yeah, but
you know.
I was worried. Of course, you would have not done it then, but does it mean if I start putting in stuff, then it's going to mess with on your end,
No,
which of
not at
course
all.
it wouldn't, but
Yeah,
yeah,
not at all.
now I got it, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's like it's totally separate.
Okay, cool.
So
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Awesome. Okay, so any last questions or thoughts, takeaways you guys want to share? You're very welcome. What would you guys like to like? What would be helpful for you to see next? Would it be as we're talking, I'm thinking, oh, it might be helpful to show people like how to onboard their employee, right? How do you actually like get it to do work that's helpful for you? Okay, I'm gonna write this down. Like building a dream team, you know? If you guys have any thoughts, let me know. And I'm gonna be doing these like every other week for a while. And
Yeah, I do have one that's just coming up right now because again, I fear the overwhelm.
yeah,
I'm using ChatGPT, but sometimes so much stuff comes out and then I feel a bit like, how am I going to use all of that?
yeah,
And I think for my brain, it would help me to see, let's say, one example how you do it. Like if you have an hour or 1.5 hours, I don't know, and you have a certain target goal, how do you accomplish that without freaking out, I
like
guess?
what? Yeah,
Yeah, just
yeah.
like one step after the other.
Okay. Um, What about like what are the things that you are, and this question for everyone, w- what do you want to get out of using AI? Like, today was all about I built a lead magnet, I built an ad, it has an email sequence to it. Like that's a thing I built and I started running traffic to it. Um, there's also things like I need to do my social content, right? Or I want to run like a personal connection campaign and I want to reach out to my connections. Like, is there a specific result or outcome that you guys are currently looking for that would be helpful to see, kind of like a how to do it? Okay, Valentina, personal connection, just like a reaching out, connecting, like how do I kind of make some relationship deposits?
Uh, yeah, so I just came on LinkedIn, and generally I get very fast depleted when I'm trying to initiate and maintain too many relationships at the same time. It's taking too much time. So I can see that now I'm spending like way over 2 hours in a day to be on LinkedIn. And it's way too much for my brain, to be honest. And also I'm falling behind on the deliverables for the clients. So I was looking at how can I design a protocol for myself, like first with the most important things. So let's say, what are the 20% that will give me 80% of the outcome? And if I'm doing the 20, then I'm like done for today, especially if I have too much on my plate for that particular day. What was I also looking into, like, how can I create a chat, especially with the new people that I'm connecting, not with the ones who I know, like with Dennis. I'm not going to use a ChatGPT to have a conversation because like I know him, we have a connection.
Yeah.
But for the new people, can I keep the conversation somehow, like use ChatGPT to help me continue the conversation, if you understand? Like, so I'm not sitting and overthinking, because I am not a social person. Let's say it this way.
So with that, I think that you would, an initial reach out, I think makes sense to have as like a, an automated type of a thing. Cause you're like, hey, what's up? Like, let's connect. It's kind of like testing, do you want to connect and have a conversation? I think you run a risk, and I don't think you would do this, but the risk of like having a person talk to, like, if you're like, I turned myself into a chat GPT, like talk to her, don't talk to me. Then you run the risk of like not actually making deposits into that relationship. But even having it help you write a response, like you could do something like that. So I'll think through some of that.
What I meant mostly the guidelines. Like I can be very short in my replies, but how do I remember that? For example, I finish with the question, so the conversation keeps going.
So you could do exactly that and say, write a response and, put a really great question to keep the conversation going. Or like, give me a list of 5 questions that I could use with this person. Here's their LinkedIn profile. Here's who they are. Give me an idea.
That would be totally great. How you
Yeah.
just framed it. I hope we're still recording.
Yeah,
so
we're totally still recording. Yeah, that's the other thing. There's like so many things I could talk about, which is why I'm going to start doing these webinars, like, or digital meetups, whatever, like more frequently. But even like assessing somebody's profile and saying, okay, okay, so for example, I have a client who is interested in building a high net worth network and really expanding and connecting with high level CEOs who are running like $500 million company, like manufacturing companies. But he's like, I don't know how to add value to these people. And I'm like, well, that's easy, you know? And I'm thinking, well, what if we, create a chat GPT that helps you know how to add value to people in your network, especially those people who maybe you feel intimidated by or who are super successful and you're like, what could I do for them? I think something like that. Yeah, like that would be a really great chat
Yeah,
GPT to have.
definitely.
But like,
Yeah.
having that chat GPT built, having clear prompts that would help you guys use it and a
Mm.
process to use it, kind of a combination of those three things to keep it really simple. It's like, use this, ask it this, and it takes 30 minutes, or whatever. Let me read this. Also, let's say I want to market my offers to the right audience. I think it'd help me to use AI first of all to create an overview with all the necessary steps involved until I can start for the campaign and then the timetable for the actual campaign. Yes. Plus the daily action steps. Yes, 100%. So this is why this is one way that I use my Tony Robbins GPT is I'm like, hey, I'm stuck. Like, literally, what do I do in the next 5 minutes? Right. Or I'll say, okay, these 15 things are on my mind. Prioritize them for me. And with you, Dennis, I think maybe what we do is we break it down into like, okay, if you're going to build, one of the things you mentioned was having a thought through marketing strategy to enroll new clients. That's probably like a 20-minute ChatGPT conversation away from being done. Then, yeah, right. Then you could have that marketing plan and break it down into, okay, what do I do week by week, day by day? Then it's like, okay, so each day I got to spend 30 minutes doing this or 10 minutes doing that or whatever that is. But then you would, if this is helpful for you, you could break it down into like a weekly protocol, right? But like the marketing strategy, that's like should be the least time consuming thing. Actually executing it is what's going to take the time. So that is like a conversation. That's like okay, yeah. So maybe that's like what we'll do for our next conversation is how to build out your marketing strategy and execute it using ChatGPT or AI to help you with that. So cool. Okay, I have one last question. Peter, what business are you starting?
Well, actually, there's a couple of things that we're working on. One is my wife's been in real estate, so she's been an agent for a couple of years and has really seen some kind of swell with recent activity. But the challenge has been going from a brokerage to brokerage to brokerage. We haven't built a single brand like web presence. So she got her like Instagram and some Facebook presence, but wanting to build our website to essentially create those lead magnets, right? Like what are the ways that we can start generating leads for, people that will potentially be interested in buying or selling.
Cool.
I personally have been in this journey to transition into some like tech operations consulting.
Cool.
So that's like where I've helped a lot of businesses start from like websites to social media and integrating to databases and CRM platforms to automate marketing communications. So I just have this belief and conviction that there's a lot of small businesses out there that could use a lot of help to just, hey, they need an opportunity to make a little investment, and obviously it'd be a win-win for each. We can measure historic revenue and kind of chart that against future growth and demonstrate, the number of customers that they acquire and identify the key metrics that we can what's the controllable levers that we can influence. So that's really what I'm working towards, but
Cool.
I haven't built either website yet. But first will be my wife's website that I've got a draft of that I'll probably publish in the next week, and then I'll work on building out mine right after that.
Nice. That's awesome. Way
Yeah.
cool. Well, stay connected with all of us. This is a great group of people who are on today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Thank you so much for just putting it out there. I know that I've seen some things like peripherally via LinkedIn, but like
totally
we obviously haven't had a conversation about anything.
awesome.
But yeah,
Cool.
thanks. This is super helpful.
Awesome. Good. I'm glad it was. All right, you guys. Well, I will be posting about the next one. I'm going to do it in 2 weeks. I feel like maybe I'm going to have to start doing them weekly because I have like all these ideas now, but I'm glad this was helpful, and appreciate you guys coming, and it's always fun to see you. So take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.